This is going to be your guide for finding berries in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So this is actually going to be very usable for many different reasons, that you can actually go out and use berries competitively in battle, or also to reset effort values. That resetting EVs is going to be shown throughout this video. So let's start off by just showing the locations of the various berry trees. So there's one in the berry fields, there's one on Route 2, and also on Route 3. Now the berry fields and Route 2 ones are really easy to see. You can find them from pretty much that location. Route 3, you'll have to head down just a little bit more through the route, and it's actually where you encounter the Bagon into Salamence, so that's pretty much where you find this berry tree right here, and there will only be 3 berry trees on Melee Island. On Akala Island, you will also be able to find 3 berry trees if you go south of Paniola Town. At the end of Route 4, that is where you can find one of the berry trees. The Route 5 berry tree is a little more tricky. They kind of have to do some navigation to get around to it, but once you find it, that will be it. And then on Route 8, it's a very easy berry tree that you fly to the Route 8 Pokemon Center, and then you just head to the east or head to the right, and then you'll be able to see it actually in the distance, and you can head over there and then grab some berries. Now the Route 10 berry tree on Ula Ula Island, this will be the berry tree that you want, because this has all of the EV reducing berries, and then the idea is you get a lot of them and then you farm them up, and then you eventually just get a ton of EV reducing berries, and that'll be a way of reducing EVs on your Pokemon right there. Now the Route 10 berry tree is really easy to get to, so as you can see right there, and then you can go and pick up some good berries. Also, that's the key berry, which is usable competitively. Berry tree on Route 16 will be right next to the Pokemon Center. Berry tree on Route 17 will also be just a little northeast of the Pokemon Center. And then going to the secluded shore is not that difficult. You can fly pretty much really close to it, then just wrap right around, and then you will be able to make it to the secluded shore. On Pony Island, most of the berry trees will be found in the Pony Wilds. They can go to the northwest part of this cliff right here, find some berry trees, and Pony Island will actually be pretty interesting because this is where you can find a lot of the competitive berries like Salac berries and Lychee berries, but also a lot of these super effective reducing berries as well. As you can see right here, you can get things like the Colba berry, the Aka berry, the Salac berry is a very good one for sure. Then we can see other ones like Patea, Roselli, as we go through the rest of the Pony Wilds and then pick up the berries there. Then there'll be one more in the Pony Plains. This one's actually really interesting to get to because you actually have to jump down a cliff and then you can head over to it. This is where you'll find the Moringa berry, Aka berry, and Yache berry. So these are, and the Sugar berry. So I mean, these are like the very big competitive berries right here with this tree on the Pony Plains. Now you can check these berries every day, so that's pretty much the goal, that some berry trees will have multiple ones. So if we hop on over to Cerebi, we can see right here that, yeah, like the first island has some very basic ones, like the Lepa berry is going to be a pretty solid one to get in Melee Island. And then we can also see like the Lum berry, Citrus berry, these are also very usable as well. Then we can kind of scroll down, and when we make it to Ula Ula Island, this is where all the good ones are. Grappa berry, Hondu, Kelpsie, Pomeg, Qualla, and Tomato. Those will be the EV reducing berries. Also, farm up enough of them, you can use them for friendship as well. So if you want to evolve Pokemon through friendship, that is one way of doing it. The Key berry is also a really interesting competitive berry as well. That the Key and Moringa berry, if held by a Pokemon, increase the holder's defense when hit by a physical move. So if you want to have a Pokemon just gain free stats, you can give the Key berry, and it's going to activate under different circumstances than, say, the Ganlon berry or something. The Ganlon, Salac berry, Apricot berry, all these berries, they'll activate at 25% or lower, unless the Pokemon has a Gluttony ability, but that is something else. With this, once you eat that first physical hit, you now get stronger against that Pokemon, because most likely it's just going to throw another physical hit. Then the rest of the island just has some more standard berries, and we can see right here, this is a Moringa berry. Pony Island showing off all those really good berries right there. We also do have the Salac berry, that's going to be a pretty big one. Patea berry, that's going to be the special boosting one. Lychee berry is going to be the attack boosting. And then we even see the Rindo. And I thought the Apricot is actually in a really interesting place on that secluded shore. So as we can see here, we can build up a really good berry bank. Now, if you want to get even more berries and grow some for yourself, well, you can't go to the Route 2 berry farm because that old man is using the land for himself. He won't share it with anyone. So this is why I said in my Pokepelago guide that your life is now beans. You must bean. Everything is bean. Beans, beans, beans. Because it takes a lot of beans. It also takes catching Pokemon to go and upgrade your Pokepelago enough so that way your berry farm can be upgraded as well. So let's actually see how much it would take if I go to develop isles and then I want this. So I need 60 beans and 30 Pokemon. Actually, I can kind of do that right now. So a little bit of a Pokepelago guide, you can exchange Pokebeans as well. So I don't use my rainbow beans as much. I still have a lot of the crystal beans as well. So what I can do is I can go and develop now. And this is pretty much how you're going to be able to get the most out of it. And then you have Pokemon tend to the berry farms like that, and then all you have to do is go and tap right here at this little berry sign, and then the berry sign will be which berries you want to plant for which allotment, and then that's going to be pretty much what you're doing right here when it comes to all of the EV berries. So Hondu berry, Qualat berry, I need to get as many of those as possible. And then also, let's see, Keyberry is pretty good, but we can get more Kelpsy and Tomato berries. And I think I'm really only missing the Pomeg berry. And, oh good, we do have a Greppa berry as well. So those are going to be the EV reducing berries right there, which will help out quite a bit. And then Leppa berry is always good if you are going to be doing SOS battles. SOS battles make it to where that Pokemon is going to be using up a lot of its moves. So if you have Recycle with a Leppa berry, that could be pretty solid right there. And then we can go and plant in the other field if we wanted to. So now I can also go and do some other things and show you guys what berries and what rates the berries will grow. And now we can head on over to Cerebi and show you guys the list for the berries, the grow times, and all the stuff like that. So pretty much what you can do is you can use even more beans and put them in the little basket, and then that will make the berries have a higher yield rate. So what you want to do is keep refreshing it with beans as long as possible, and then that will give you the maximum yield, which can lead to a crazy amount of berries. But as you can see, some berries will take a very long time, up to 3 days. But that's AFK, so you just pretty much plant everything, make sure you're coming back in the appropriate amount of time. It will be 2 days if you do want to get the EV reducing berries as well, but you can get up to 14 per harvest. And since there's 6 of those stat reducing berries and then 3 times 6 slots, you can get 45 of those berries every 2 days if you are maxing out with the beans and stuff. So that's actually some pretty good rates right there. Or for the 24-hour berries like the Leppa berry, Citrus berry, Lum berry, those are also fairly usable as well. And you can even see that there are some other interesting berries like the Corn berry, which will grow in 24 hours, otherwise known as like a fairly rare berry in the past. Then pretty much if you want any of those other berries, this is going to be your guide and chart right there. So hopefully you can get enough berries to make it worthwhile. Now this next part might not make a lot of people happy because we just went over finding all the berries in Pokemon Sun and Moon. That's pretty much how you do it. You just go to all the trees, or you go to the specific trees you want, keep going back every day, and then plant them, and then hope for the best, and then now you'll have a ton of ways of using competitive berries, useful berries, or EV reducing berries. But I wanted to also just kind of make this an EV reduction guide as well. So let's talk about the Festival Plaza, because the Festival Plaza has ways of reducing EVs, except it's going to take a lot of work, that you're going to need a friendship parlor and a friendship cafe. So this is a way of gaining friendship for Pokemon, but also reducing EVs as well. That we have the sweet set, we also have secret meals, that these are what you're going to be aiming for, but also requires high level Pokemon, and that does make a lot of sense. If you're resetting EVs, well, to gain EVs you need to knock out opposing Pokemon, so the Pokemon should be at a decent level if you're ready for the reset. But notice how we need 5-star cafes and parlors to be able to max out everything right there. So the sweet set will just come with any of them, but for the friendship cafe and all the secret meals, you will need to have a very late game high leveled Plaza, and you'll also have to like either buy or hope that you can RNG these and then get these set up. Also, that means it's taking away slots from other things in your Festival Plaza, so be wary of that. And then as we can scroll down, we can see what this really means. So Secret Meal F, a secret menu item, makes a Pokemon much more friendly, but it reduces the base speed stat to 0. So it's a great way of getting friendship, but also a good way of reducing EVs, except, look at that, it's going to cost 200 festival coins to get that. So that, I'm like, I don't even know. It's like, is that something that you want to do right there? That you can take that, and then that's going to be a good way of reducing it. Or at the same time, depending on how many EVs that Pokemon has, it might be better to just go for a sweet set. Makes Pokemon much more friendly, but lowers the base speed stat a lot. Now, I haven't actually checked how many EVs this does specifically, because I haven't been doing like EV training reduction, I haven't been going to the cafe and stuff, but it only costs 30 right there. So as long as it's more than a berry will reduce by 10, then that might be more effective. Like if you just have a lot of festival coins from grinding up, I mean, if you've been playing enough to get a level 5 friendship cafe or friendship parlor, you're probably going to have a lot of spare festival coins to use, so maybe that could be useful for you. Other than that, I think it's just worth it to do the berries, that if you need to just specifically reduce EVs, just start now, that in a couple of weeks and months or something like that, you'll just never run out of EV reducing berries, as long as you're just doing the turnover. I mean, when you think about it, the island isn't too hard. Like the Pokepelago, you just kind of AFK it and make sure you're doing everything at once. So yeah, like over here, okay, I have these berries growing, and then it only takes a couple minutes out of your day to go and plant what you need to plant. And I've only been doing this just a little, and I already have like a really good amount of Kelpsy and Tomato berries. And you don't even have to like drag and drop, or you just tap. You just tap and you're good to go. So that's gonna be really good for EV reduction right there. Then also you can go and put beans into this basket. Oh my goodness. It's so hard to bounce between saying beans and berries and stuff, but then I can also like try to increase the yield of my berries right there. So that's not going to be a super amount, but except I am a little confused as to how it works. That I just put in some beans and it said that berries will grow faster, but on Cerebi it says Poke Beans are used in order to increase the harvest of the berries. So maybe that just means like harvest as in harvest rate or something like that. But then the berry yield will vary. So I guess the berry yield is more RNG than bean dependent. So that could be a little rough, but at the same time, if you're just trying to reduce one stat, then that means you plant 12 patches of Kelpsie Berry, or 12 patches of Hondu Berry, or 12 patches of the specific berry that you're looking for, and then you should be able to get what you need to and in a reasonable amount of time. That unless you like really screw up EVs for every EV stat on every Pokemon at all times, I don't think this is too bad of a method, but I know that there's a lot of people that loved their super training. Now, super training itself is a much more inferior method compared to like SOS battles or horde battles back in the 6th generation, but at least you got the reset bags from those. And if you had those reset bags, then that was a really fast, almost automatic way of just resetting the EVs. But the berry farming is something you want to do as well, that the more berries you can grow, just max out the berries as soon as possible, and then that means you can drop 5 berries down, put in some beans, have the harvest go by really fast, and then you'll be able to reset that Pokemon's EVs just like that. So I think it's more for like EV tuning and not just full out wiping. That there are some weird things that some Pokemon sets will take vastly different EVs, and that's just worth it instead of breeding a whole new Pokemon to reset the EVs entirely and then go for another Pokemon like that. But with this, say if you're like 40 off, or you want to just kind of reduce a small number and then get to a really good pinpoint, like say it calls for 200 EVs and hit points, well then that's when you just want to go for like Pomeg Berries, just drop it down to 200 off of that, and then you're going to be able to kind of tune into the correct EV value from the higher end instead of just refreshing from 0. Now that means it will take 26 berries to drop a stat from 252 down to 0, so that will take a bit of time, but at least better than nothing, and this is going to be the way of doing it. Or you could just go and spend a ton of festival coins. So that's what we're looking at right there. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.